Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. In Radiant City, Immortal Palace had been plundered clean. This was definitely a major event. Even though they tried to conceal it, there were still some who learned that someone had barged in. Even though they didn't know about the losses, they knew that there was a huge problem. Soon after, a few great powers received the report that someone broke into Silver Polish Mountain to rescue Lana Chen, and were now trapped within the formation. Go, let's provide assistance, and see what happened. Is there really someone this brave? Many people didn't believe this. Unless the most powerful Divine Flame Realm expert took action, how could that person fight so many exceptional talents? However, when they rushed over, the place was completely deserted. Apart from a bit of meat fragrance within Silver Polish Mountain, there wasn't anything else. Everything had been burned clean by Shahao, truly rubbish. Even with all of you standing guard, none of you paid attention to what exactly happened inside. The group of people that descended were furious, making those experts guarding Silver Polish Mountain feel helpless. It was because the formation was too strong, to the point where they couldn't enter at all. In the outside world, the uninhabited region's borders, many people released a breath of air, because they discovered that Shahao had left. The people who rushed over didn't run into him, making many people in the outside world feel a sense of relief. After calming their hearts, everyone discovered that they were now a bit fearful of Huang. They were scared of their sect's disciples running into him, fearing that they would step on a path of death, truly unimaginable. A youth that came from the lower realm actually makes us feel so worried, fearing that our descendants would encounter him. This really is lamentable. An old heavenly deity said with a sigh, feeling extremely helpless. In reality, now, aside from inheritances like Sword Valley, Dragon Palace, Divine Temple, and other inheritances with ancient freaks, who else didn't fear Huang? Aside from them, perhaps only Immortal Palace, Divine Dark Child, an inheritor of the great heaven burning art wouldn't feel fear, not good. He is heading for Radiant City. In the outside world, many people's expressions changed. They discovered that Shahao was bringing a few people into Radiant City. Right now, many people were afraid of him, because this fella never acted according to convention, not doing things how one would normally expect. He definitely didn't care about the rules great powers set. Right now, Divine Dark Child, Six Crown King, Jiyu Jianyun, Ancient Holy Child and others hadn't emerged from their isolation yet, so who could stop him? He was definitely unmatched. If he just flattened everything in his way, slaughtering Radiant City clean, that would simply be unimaginable. In the outside world, a group of people felt anxious, worried for their disciples. It was hard for their hearts to calm down. The elders and others who were directly related to these youths inside Radiant City felt even more fear. This was unimaginable. Ever since the opening of Immortal Ancient, no single person had ever caused so many faces to fall, their hearts shaking so greatly with worry. Radiant City exuded a faint golden luster. Together with the flickering of bone texts, it was like an enormous golden city. Yi, isn't that Luo Dao? How come he came back? He actually dares enter Radiant City. Someone recognized Luo Dao, immediately becoming shocked. Lana Chen came back as well, actually breaking free. Those powers weren't able to capture him. Did he offer up the Arctadic treasure unicorn? Underworld clans people were truly speechless. Who could pick divine medicines? How many of those were even dug up? Half-divine fruits were things that could be stumbled upon, but not begged for. We did have half-divine fruits, but they were all taken away a month ago. These are the holy medicines we gathered recently. Someone explained with sullen faces. Speak, where is Divine Dark Child cultivating in isolation? Shahao shouted. He wanted to pay his nest a visit. I don't know, each time, it is always the Divine Child who personally returns to bring away the precious medicine. No one knows where he is cultivating. Underworld clans people replied with lowered heads. Go to the next house. After looking around with the dual pupil and making sure there wasn't anything they overlooked, he headed to the next power. Soon after, he plundered another sect. This time, his rewards weren't bad, much better than those from Divine Dark Palace. Not good. I just received news that Six Crown King Ningchuan is going to come back. After plundering from two places, Luo Dao spoke next to Shahao's ears. This was definitely shocking news. Once Six Crown King appeared, who could compete against him? He would be unmatched under heaven, is that so? He has a power in this city too. Then we'll just go there. Shahao said. Point 1. Chi also means male unicorn, and Lin means female unicorn. Only the character Chi was used, which was why I named it Arctadic Treasure Unicorn, but it might be more correct to just leave it at Arctadic Treasure Chi outside world, border of uninhabited region. There were people carving characters. Names appeared on the flower petals one after another, yet none of them showed any reaction. They were all hidden by the heavens, not allowed the people here to see what was going on. Those individuals were all extremely special, carrying out the deepest level of transformation. Outsiders could not see them. Theirs was a reaction. Ning Chuan has appeared. Did he come out of isolation? Someone cried out in shock. A group of sect masters raised their eyebrows, all of them looking forward. As for the group of heavenly deities and true deities, they were all shocked. Their eyes flickered with radiance as they stared at the glossy and enormous stone monument, the figure that was gradually becoming clear. Sure enough, Ning Chuan appeared, standing there. Chaotic mists pervaded the air, exceptionally mysterious. That was an ancient cave, and there were chaotic irregular sculptures there. One could see just how shocking this precious land was. There will be another life and death trial again soon. I can definitely pass it, only half divine fruits and holy medicines aren't enough. This time, after harmonizing everything, I should pay the outside world a visit. Ning Chuan said to himself. He walked out from the ancient cave, walking slowly by himself, as if he was adjusting his state of mind. He had clearly emerged from isolation for a few days now, adjusting himself to an optimum state this entire time. Soon afterwards, he returned to the ancient cave, sat down, and then the chaotic mist surrounded him. What is that? In the outside world, everyone's minds trembled. Even with immortal ancient separating them, they still felt a bit shaken up. Through the stone walls, they felt a mysterious type of aura. Even sect master level figures were startled. They knew that Ning Chuan obtained something heaven-defying. Sure enough, someone recognized that ancient wooden case. A great figure cried out in alarm, "World Tree." It is actually a precious case carved from a portion of the World Tree's core. How extravagant. This type of thing could allow one to comprehend the Tao. By keeping it at one side, it would be greatly beneficial for their cultivation. All of the sects were greatly shaken. One has to understand that this type of thing was already impossible to find in this world. The World Tree had long been cut down, no longer in existence. It contained traces of the heavenly Great Tao. Finally, the wooden case opened. A wisp of the great pressure actually seeped out from the immortal Tao flower's petals, making everyone shiver inwardly. That is, a person's hand bone. Everyone became stunned. They never expected that what was sealed within Ning Chuan's World Tree precious case was a bone that seemed extremely simple and ancient, not much luster to be seen. That type of white looked like it had gone through the great changes of time, losing its sparkling luster, only having an ordinary whiteness. It can't be an ordinary person's bone. An old heavenly deity said. Everyone knew that six-crown King Ning Chuan was extraordinary, unmatched from past to present. How could the bone he stored in the World Tree precious case be ordinary? I reckon that it is most likely an immortal bone. An old sect master said. True immortal hand bone. When this speculation emerged, it triggered a great commotion. Everyone's expressions changed. This was definitely a rare precious item. It had already become a legend, no longer appearing in this world, already lost in immortal ancient era. In the current great era where bone texts were king, the value of that hand bone was unfathomable. Ning Chuan bit his own finger, and then a few drops of blood dripped downwards, scattering on that dull hand bone. That hand bone immediately underwent shocking changes. It immediately became spotlessly white and sparkling, and it contained a type of vitality. The bone texts on it interweaved, symbols covering it densely, releasing shocking fluctuations. Heavens, this bone is formidable. Who knows, that immortals' natural luck might all be in those bone texts. This is inconceivable. Such a thing is actually intact. Everyone widened their eyes, feeling incomparably shocked. Ning Chuan's natural luck was unimaginable, shockingly great. Hand bone, an artifact of battle. This kind of bone was actually left behind, making it hard for everyone to calm down. Ning Chuan was extremely calm. He seemed to understand this bone deeply, keeping it by his side for who knew how many years. He then fiercely tore open his own left hand, merging this bone inside. This was an extremely strange process. That hand bone unexpectedly merged with Ning Chuan's bones, releasing a gentle radiance. It was incomparably holy. His flesh in that area began to move about, the injuries quickly closing. What is he trying to do? Everyone became shocked. Soon after, that hand shone. Bone texts interweaved, and then they extended along his arm, releasing holy radiance that surrounded that place. Immediately afterwards, no one could see anything anymore. Ning Chuan's figure disappeared from the immortal Dao flower's petals, no longer appearing on the monument. Why do I feel like he is doing something he is familiar with, as if he had done this a long time ago, that this isn't his first time? Did he completely comprehend those immortal Dao symbols? Formidable. Is a heaven-defying figure really going to emerge from this world? Even the hand bone of an immortal exists, the bone and symbols still alive. I feel like he might be able to come out, after just a few more days. It was hard for the outside world to calm down. Everyone was shocked. Radiant City. Shahao brought some people directly into Six Crown King's official residence. There wasn't much to be said. They directly barged in. Who are you? Why are you doing this? Someone shouted. This old one came to demand repayment. Surrounding us and attacking us from all sides feels good, huh? Today, we are going to smash apart your residence. See how smug all of you act then. Lanichen said. What about the Arctic treasure unicorn? An elder appeared like a ghost, blocking their path, a puppet, true deity realm. Luo Dao was shocked. There were no exceptional talents here, as all of them were out in the world looking for their own natural luck. Normally speaking, if there wasn't anything unexpected, they would only come back every so often. Apart from this, there were two experts who already headed for Silver Polish Mountain. I have arrived. Shahao spoke, walking forward indifferently. The Kuanpeng wings behind him moved, sending golden multicolored clouds and mist to overflow into the heavens, shocking all of Radiant City. And who are you? The sinner's blood descendant in your eyes. Shahao said coldly. News already spread that the sinner's blood descendant arrived, wantonly stealing from Six Crown King and Divine Dark Child's palace. Who dared to provoke these people normally? Who are you? I am someone from fallen deity Ridge's people. My clan's great one is fallen divine child. This middle-aged person spoke. When the surrounding people heard this, all of their expressions changed. This was an extremely terrifying sect. Fallen deities were demons, one of the demonic Dao's four great ancestral halls, the most terrifying type of place. Fallen divine child was an ancient freak. Even though he only appeared once, seizing the number one ranking of that time, he killed a three-crown king, intimidating all 3,000 provinces. The one that participated several thousand years ago in the Great Battle of 3,000 provinces. Shahao asked, correct, he only participated once, but he killed a three-crown king and a two-crown king. The middle-aged man replied. It could be said that fallen divine child was extremely terrifying. Even though he only appeared once, he was well known among ancient freaks. One has to understand that he entered as a newcomer, yet he killed an ancient king. How shocking was this? From this, one could tell that great waves were stirring. Those that remained were all heavenly talents, all of them the most powerful experts. The slightly weaker freaks have all encountered disaster. The remaining people would only be stronger. Shahao's eyes became cold, because he thought about his two martial brothers who were humiliated by the one who was humiliated in the last number one under heaven, chased away from supreme being Dao right. It seems like you don't understand much about me or fallen divine child. Shahao said rather meaningfully, my clan's great one likes meeting heroes. We believe that an alliance can be reached. The middle-aged man spoke, where is your great one's manor? Let's go take a look. Shahao said, I have only just arrived in Radiant City, so a mansion has not been raised for Great One yet. In the past, we were situated in a different city. The middle-aged man said, then come look for me when you've finished building it and gathered enough good stuff. Shahao turned around to leave, The middle-aged man was speechless. Run. A devil king came. The sinner's blood descendant came, the one suspected to be Huang is coming to steal from the treasures of every clan. Radiant City was in chaos. Everyone was running out of fear that Shahao would pay them a visit. This made him feel depressed. The disturbance was just too great. He was just robbing a few clans, yet it ended up shocking the entire city. When he paid others a visit, he discovered that many of their manors were already empty. Don't panic. I am settling things with those who fought over my Arctic treasure unicorn. Shahao transmitted. In the end, a great rumbling sounded, and even more people ran. He was speechless. He turned around to look at Luo Dao and Lana Chen. Luo Dao shrugged his shoulders helplessly. Back then, during the great chaos, the entire city surrounded us. These holy medicines, half-divine fruits aren't enough. I am going to set out on an unprecedented route and need divine medicines. When Shahao heard this, he was immediately interested. Go, let's take a look to see if this expert really left behind any divine medicines. Who knows, it might even be a long-life medicine. Six Crown King is about to appear. Lana Chen carried a worried expression on his face. Who cares if he comes? I'll chop him up. Shahao said, not minding this at all. Nest realm, within a primitive forest. The tree leaves above the ground were extremely thick, already gathering several feet, so the ground was rather soft to walk on. The forest carried a decaying aura. Old trees were densely packed, towering into the sky. Lush and flourishing branches formed an enormous expanse of tree shade, many places not receiving any sunlight all year round as a result. Once fruits or other things fell, they would quickly grow mold. Nest realm, this place obtained its name from being the nest of one of the vicious 10. This place was quite far from Radiant Realm, a relatively larger small world. The ancient forest had many poisonous vicious beasts, making this a dangerous place. This is the nest of the one suspected to be one of the vicious 10. Shahao asked, we aren't there yet. This is just the outermost region. That place is extremely dangerous, and many people have already died, numbering at least 80,000. Blood has already dyed the cliff red. Luo Dao said. The death toll was rapidly climbing by the day. It was all because this was the nest of one of the vicious 10, a place that had astronomical natural luck. It made people crazy, all of them flocking over like moths to a flame. Currently, they were quite deep into the mountain region. Ancient trees covered the sun, enormous vines wrapped around mountains. Beasts roared, ancient birds took to the skies. There was a wild and savage feel to this place. There were quite a few prehistoric creatures. For example, two-headed dragon bird, ancestral crocodile, sky-swallowing snail, and others. All of them were terrifying. Even Shahao felt like he had to back off. Some of these creatures' cultivation levels were terrifyingly high. These were the primitive creatures of immortal ancient. They lived in this special region, and normally speaking, wouldn't leave their respective dwellings, but they wouldn't tolerate the provocations of others either. Let's rest up under this mountain. There might be a great battle soon. Lu Yi said. On a mountain that was several hundred zhong tall, not a single blade of grass grew. It was quiet, without sound. There were quite a few spiritual medicines nearby, their fragrance wafting about. The spiritual essence within immortal ancient was just too rich. These medicinal herbs flourished, with medicines that were several tens of thousands of years old appearing quite frequently. This was why there were holy medicines that were produced. Suddenly, Shahao's fine hair stood on end, his entire body shining, golden symbols extending outwards. Those that followed him quickly retreated, traveling over 10,000 zhong away. In their original place, an enormous head reached out. It had two flesh horns, its body an ash-gray color. There was large amount of mucus as well. It looked quite terrifying, a sky-devouring snail. Lu Yi's face became pale. The place he chose to rest, that stone mountain, was actually a snail. It was several hundred zhong tall. The snail's shell was a dark brown color that resembled stone. It's not too bad, only at the great circle of true deity level, not advancing past it. Lana Chen said, need to be a bit careful. This snail is poisonous. If it swallows or even makes contact with you, it will be inevitable death. Its poison can kill even powerful heavenly deities. Luo Dao said. That mucus couldn't be touched, or else it would destroy one's Dao foundation. No medicine would be able to cure that person then. Fortunately, this wasn't where immortal ancients' primitive creatures gathered, with ancient creature appearances rare. It couldn't be considered the most dangerous place. Those tribes truly have heaven-defying treasures. Those extremely ancient creatures' ancestral grounds have rare divine medicines planted within them, their worth unfathomable. Unfortunately, no one dares enter those places. Luo Dao sighed and said. The primitive creatures in those places were exceptionally powerful. Even if a higher realms sect master personally came, it would be difficult for them to survive after barging in. Everything pointed towards disaster. However, what people didn't understand was why they would never leave those ancient places. Unless there was a huge disturbance, they would always be content just staying inside those places. I've always felt like it was odd. Why don't they come out? Also, they don't communicate with anyone else, just like living dead. Lana Chen said, the geniuses that entered Immortal Ancient, there were some that stayed behind due to unexpected events. Their descendants also live in Immortal Ancient, only, these people, once they reach the later stages of life, would always have strange things happen to them, dying mysteriously or going mad. Is it related to this? Luo Dao voiced his skepticism. There are too many things unknown in Immortal Ancient. It is best if we act carefully. Lu Yi said. They made a detour around this place, not clashing head-on with that sky-devouring snail. This type of creature, unless it reached the heavenly deity realm, would move rather slow. They wouldn't be able to catch up to them. We are getting close. It is precisely this region. Currently, no one has truly set foot into the innermost depths of the nest yet. They would all run into various types of problems. Luo Dao pointed forward. This was a hazy region. Grey mists swirled about, not all that thick. However, the scenery in the distance all became hazy and indistinct as a result. Stone mountains, ancient trees, streams, everything that should be there was there. Only, this place truly had a sinister aura, making it quite unusual. It always gave one a rather uneasy feeling. This forest wasn't that tall, all small trees there were half a person's height. It was unknown what their names were, nor could anything special be seen about them. Only, whenever cultivators entered this forest, they would lose their way, generally wandering about for several days. After this forest is the vicious nest. Shahao asked, we'll be able to see it after making it through this place. However, we might not be able to enter. The paths everyone takes are different. There are many strange distortions in space, extremely mysterious. Since so many have died, why are they still coming one after another? Shahao asked, who wouldn't be moved by the nest of a vicious 10? Moreover, even if one can't enter, there are still many areas of natural luck in these nearby regions. Quite a few people have received great harvests. Lana Chen said. This forest was known as Ghost Forest. After entering, Shahao immediately knew why it had this type of name. As soon as he entered, it was as if the stars moved, as if he experienced great changes, the scenery of heaven and earth transforming. In this place, layers after layers of dense fog covered everything around them, making it easy for them to lose their way and forget themselves. This is strange. Just now, for an instant, I became absent-minded. I almost forgot even my own name. Lu Yi shivered inwardly, as if he had just experienced a reincarnation. Shahao nodded and said, just now, there was a strange power that made my primordial spirit waver. However, it has been cut off by my heavenly passage. After entering this place, they immediately saw a few figures, all of them searching around for a path, wishing to enter the vicious cave. This ghost forest was rumored to cover 10,000 li. It was extremely large. Despite this being the case, they would run into experts from time to time. No one could be certain just how many people came. Shahao and the others' journey could still be considered smooth. They had only walked out half a day, yet they were already approaching the nest. That place was surrounded by primal chaos. Those mountains, are they all made of stone? Yi, something's wrong. They seem to be volcanoes. Lu Yi was fearful. Suddenly, rumbling sounds could be heard. 3,000 enormous stars appeared, most of them blue-colored. They emerged from the primal chaos and floated there, moving around this ancient place. How astonishing. Don't tell me that this is the 3,000 types of ancient heavenly Tao, Lu Yi said. Upon closer inspection, these blue-colored stars carried spots of blood, some of them half dyed by blood. It was quite bizarre. Now, Shahao believed that these stars were likely truly infected by immortal blood. Rumors always had a certain amount of reasoning behind their existence, not completely unfounded. He stared for an extremely long time in that direction. Something's not right. It seems close, but I feel like we are still extremely far away, as if there is a void separating us. Shahao frowned. He had a feeling that the ancient place was still extremely far away. Luo Dao and Lana Chen couldn't help but sigh. This fella's spiritual senses were truly unique, able to see through its intrinsic quality. Back then, they had been at a loss for an extremely long time. Correct, there are many regions outside the vicious nest, all of them surrounding that piece of ancient earth. They looked extremely close, but every piece of land is actually extremely large with great natural luck within. It was clear that there was some spatial laws here. They looked like they were almost within reach, but in reality, they had pieces of divine earth, demonic land, and holy realms surrounding it. Shahao's eyes released symbols. He stared at the zone in front of him, and sure enough, changes immediately took place. It's a place of natural luck. The spiritual essence is just too vigorous. Spiritual liquid actually condensed into a lake in that region, and there are phoenix fish with brilliant wings. These are divine creatures that can extend life. Enough to make sect masters' eyes as red as rabbits' eyes. Shahao was shocked. That was one of the rare creatures, its life source shocking. In another region, there was clearly a divine fruit tree that possessed divine aura. The ancient tree was upright and strong, shining with splendid multicolored clouds, its branches abundant and luxuriant. There were cultivators roaming about, wishing to approach and pick the divine fruits. There was another holy realm, where an ancient palace floated above a river of life. Dao sounds rumbled, symbols flickered, it was as if sutras were being chanted there. How mysterious. Shahao was shocked. He was a bit impatient. Forget about the vicious nest, just these regions were worth exploring, with great natural luck to seize. There were just too many extraordinary places, all of them having divine objects. Obtaining any one of them would be extremely shocking. In the void, from time to time, the spiritual essence would condense into liquid and fall onto the ground. There were a few depressions in the ground that were filled with spiritual liquid. No matter, these areas are all adjacent to each other. We'll search them one region after another, so sooner or later, we'll find them. Luo Dao said. In the secret earth, one would find tens of stalks of spiritual medicines, just by raising their heads. If it was in the lower realm, each spiritual mountain would only be able to grow a single stalk, yet here, they were actually so numerous. The main reason was because the spiritual essence was too rich, able to support their growth. Even though they were precious, Shahao didn't pick them, because he knew that his road was difficult, and that it would be hard to make out alive. If they weren't holy or divine medicines, they couldn't save him. These ancient trees were especially large, their leaves crisp and lush green, as if they were carved from jade, flowing with green magnificence. They reflected light like mirrors, especially rich with vitality. Unfortunately, they weren't any divine trees and were instead just normal trees. However, their vitality far exceeded the old trees of the outside world. They stretched several hundred zhong into the air, some even reaching over 1,000. It is quite strange. These trees should have withered after existing for thousands to tens of thousands of years and replaced by smaller trees. Why is this not the case? There should be strange natural laws in place that stops them from forming. It is quite unusual. As they walked over, they felt a thriving vitality, as well as endless rich spiritual essence. Every single person felt their bodies become lighter. It was an extremely comfortable feeling. Halt. Suddenly, more than 10 creatures arrived from up ahead, some who had horns on their heads, others with 3 heads 6 arms. They were all of different shapes and forms. They were clearly all unordinary. Upon closer inspection, these cultivators seemed to have all become deities. Their strength were quite great, and with so many of them together, they formed quite the power. What do you need? Lana Chen asked. A humanoid creature with silver wings walked forward, saying indifferently, "Hand over all of the treasures you have on you." They immediately looked at each other with dismay. Did they encounter others like themselves? These guys were actually trying to rob them. Hand over all of the holy medicines you all have. Lu Yi walked up. Ayo, there are actually others that want to steal from us. The other group roared with laughter. With a hula sound, they surrounded Shahao's group. Peng. Dong. All types of sounds rang out in this place. Soon after, this place calmed down. There was a pile of people laying on the ground, all of them struck by Lana Chen until blood came out from their mouths, many of their bones broken. Exceptional talent. One of them widened his eyes, revealing a look of horror. In addition, they could tell that this metal individual wasn't the most powerful one. It was actually that seemingly harmless youth who was their leader. Soon after, they were grieved to find that the few stalks of holy medicines they suffered through untold hardships to obtain were all seized. Their bodies were completely searched through. Robbery. Someone cried out, with a heart-splitting lung-tearing voice. Shahao laughed from irritation. Have you all ever thought of this result when stealing from others? Luo Dao added a few more kicks, sending them flying outwards. Most of their bones were broken. Then, this group of people swaggered off. Damn it. We've been robbed. As these people watched Shahao's group leave, they howled in grief. Shahao's group proceeded forward. They saw a few corpses along the way, all of them dying after fighting intense battles. Some of them were in quite miserable states, having their corpses chopped up, blood dripping everywhere. All of these corpses' precious items were robbed clean, without a single thing left behind. They frowned, feeling a gloomy atmosphere. This was not some kind place after all. Those who came all went mad, thus starting fights, all for the sake of obtaining heavenly treasures. In their world pouches, cauldrons, if they were opened up, it would be dazzling and brilliant, holy medicines piled up greatly. All of them were obtained after retaliating against these types of bandits. This really is too shocking. In just 6 days, we've obtained the same amount that we would have gotten from toiling away for half a year. There are actually this many holy medicines. Lan Yichen sighed with amazement. As for Lu Yi, his eyes have long gone straight. He wouldn't leave even if he was asked to. He promised that in the future, he would personally be in charge of scouting out news regarding the great sects and report them back to him. In addition, he would take care of selling everything Shahao, Luo Dao, and the others didn't need. Of course, during these past few days, they encountered a few vicious stumbles, and even Luo Dao and Lan Yichen were injured. It was because those were extremely powerful exceptional talents. In the end, however, they were all killed by Shahao, their blood splashing out on this ancient place. While they were obtaining great harvests, the outside world was full of chaos as well. In an ancient cave, immortal light shone resplendently. Symbols interweaved, and supreme being scriptures sounded, as if it were unmatched true immortals who had existed forever throughout time, that were chanting, "One of the vicious ten's nest has appeared. I cannot miss out and must take a look." A youth got up, leaving an ancient cave. He wore shiny long life battle clothes, his figure tall and slender, appearance handsome. There was an aura of a king to his appearance, his gaze like divine lightning. Following a roar, his chest swelled with immortal light. It then wrapped around him, forming a shocking rainbow, his figure then immediately disappearing into the limits of the horizon. In the outside world, the edge of the uninhabited region. The various great sect masters were all shocked, many people found it hard to believe. They looked towards immortal heavenly deity Qin Changsheng. It's actually an immortal bone. The voices of a few sect masters were trembling, not daring to believe what they were seeing. The higher realms had a rumor that the Qin clan obtained a pair of supreme being bones, and this produced a huge commotion. However, who would believe that one of the bones was actually an immortal bone? That bone was, without a doubt, not any inferior to 6 Crown King's arm bone. There has been a rumor that the youth had an immortal bone, but no one treated it as true back then. I never would have thought that in reality. Some people began to think back to the past, feeling a wave of speechlessness. False and truth, truth and false. It was clear that Immortal Mountain purposely released a bit of smoke to confuse everyone. Immortal Ancient, within a small world. On a black-colored mountain, primal chaos swirled about. This was a dangerous place normal cultivators couldn't step foot in at all, yet there was someone cultivating in isolation here. Following a long roar, a male stood up. When his eyes opened and closed, dual pupils shocked the heavens. Those eyes released streak after streak of radiance, splitting apart the radiance. It was as if the heavens and earth were opening. Those eyes were completely formed from symbols, resplendent and world-shocking. He roared towards the heavens, shaking up the mountains and valleys until they trembled. Chaotic energy wrapped around him. He stood on the peak of the Black Mountain alone like a revived war god. Soon after, he calmed down. He overlooked the mountains, rivers, and all things. After living in seclusion for so many years, the dual pupils will reappear in this world. I am going to reign supreme in the heavens above and earth below. In the outside world, everyone who saw this scene from the immortal Dao flower's petals gasped. Was the dual pupils user going to emerge from isolation? At this moment, the eyes of all of the sect masters flickered, revealing looks of surprise. They continuously looked at that individual. Meanwhile, a few old heavenly deities even directly sighed. Many people were discussing among themselves. Dual pupil user, known as an undefeated legend from past to present. This type of person was nearly insurmountable. Their deaths were all because of special reasons, such as attacked from all sides or if a giant took action, ending their lives prematurely. The dual pupil has appeared again, after being eradicated in the ancient era. This will likely create a huge disturbance. There is no need to doubt his fighting prowess. Someone said with a sigh. For a dual-pupil user to enter Immortal Ancient, this was simply like letting a dragon into the sea. Even this type of dazzling and powerful figure had suffered a defeat before. He had been defeated by Huang in the lower realm, almost killed then. When these words were spoken, all sides began to discuss among themselves. When they meet again, the weak and strong will be decided. The dual pupils is something that can awaken all innate divine abilities. Everyone looked forward to this, hoping that these two heroes would fight it out again. Six-Crown King Ning Chuan has come out from isolation as well. This is truly a gathering of storms. Great chaos is going to erupt soon. If they meet, it will be unimaginable. Someone cried out with shock. It was because he discovered that Ning Chuan also came out from isolation. Immortal Ancient, in a cave no one knew about. Ning Chuan opened his eyes. After reviving, brilliant colors swirled about his body, immortal multicolored brilliance dazzling, making him look otherworldly and refined, just like a reincarnated immortal king. Only, in the depths of his eyes, there was a dignified look. There was a pressure exuded even without displaying anger. He stood up and said, regardless, I should go out to take a look. I am familiar with that vicious nest, and in the past 6 times, I haven't obtained anything from it. I hope I can obtain some type of breakthrough this time. Only, it is not suitable for my true body to act recklessly. He frowned, releasing a sigh. As expected, even Six-Crown King is going to move out, also for that vicious nest. The archaic vicious 10 have shaken the world under heavens, and not even he could sit still and just watch. In the outside world, many people were expectant. They wanted to see how stunning Six-Crown King was, what kind of unmatched style he was going to display. He came out from his cave. Is that his true body? In Immortal Ancient, a figure walked out, clothes as white as snow, even the socks and shoes like this, not tainted by the aura of the world. Six-Crown King Ning Chuan walked out. With just a few steps, he disappeared into the limits of the horizon, fast to the point of making people tremble inwardly. I should get rid of the sinner's blood descendant. Only a single unordinary individual has appeared after all these years, so it is worth me personally taking action. At the limits of the horizon, when that figure disappeared, he left behind this sentence. It was world-shocking. In the outside world, border of the uninhabited region, everyone found it hard to calm down. Six-Crown King had emerged, and not only was he going to go for the vicious 10 nest, he was going to take action against Huang as well, to kill the sinner's blood descendant. This was definitely a great matter. Nest Realm, the mysterious regions around the vicious 10 nest. The mountain forest was lush with life, the road rugged. It was difficult to fly through this place, as there were restriction on space. A decaying aura transmitted over from extremely far away, with the smell of rotting wild fruits, as well as decomposing thick leaves. This was even more so caused by the corpses of some beasts. Only, after continuing forward, the faces of Shahao's party changed. The rotting smell changed, now smelling extremely foul. This was definitely much worse than that of when only 1 or 2 vicious birds or beasts died. Soon after, a dark redness appeared on the ground. Corpses rested in 6s and 7s all over the mountain ground, numbering not less than 100 in total. They had long died, who knew how many days ago. Normally, after becoming a deity, only rarely would one's vitality be harmed. Even when they passed away, their flesh should be preserved for a long time. However, here, normal reasoning was broken. There was blood everywhere, and divine corpses were rotting. The stench made one wish to vomit. It was difficult to endure. What happened? Why did so many die all at once? Even if they were robbed, they should have ran in all directions and not be piled up together like this. While carrying doubt, they continued forward. Soon after, those people were horrified, because in the mountain forest, there were corpses everywhere. They found more just by walking a bit further, corpses piled up like mountains. There are just too many. Did some kind of problem occur? Lu Yi's face was deathly white. This was just too terrifying. It was quiet without sound, because all of these creatures were dead. They only traveled for a few li, yet they already discovered over 1,000 skeletal remains. It was now more than half of what they saw in the last few days. The most important thing was that they were all concentrated in the same area, as if it was an entrance into the underworld. There was a wave of austereness, and even more a type of cold gloominess. The blood suns hung in the air, the ancient trees towering below. Rotting divine corpses could be seen everywhere within the thistles and thorns. This scene was just too terrifying. There were no sounds apart from their footsteps. Even Luo Dao and Lana Chen's faces weren't pleasant. Both of them were clenching their fists, their finger joints long turned white. It was clear that their minds were taut as well. This is a dangerous area. We cannot proceed any further, or else we'll follow in these people's footsteps. We haven't seen another living person after arriving in this ancient place. They haven't seen even a bandit here. There were only divine corpses, as there was no way supreme expert bodies could exist. The rotting stench was extremely strong. They climbed over a steep cliff. There were many corpses here, piled up like a small mountain. There were no lack of exceptional talents among these corpses. It was extremely shocking. The cliff was scarlet, a color produced by blood. It had long dried up, and even now, the pungent bloody odor could still be smelled. There are even true deities here. Everyone was shocked. They discovered a few unique bodies that had all already broken through into the true self realm, but they still died here. One could see just how dangerous it was. Those individuals weren't exceptional talents, their bones not that outstanding. They clearly had some secret methods. They likely didn't enter Immortal Ancient hoping for anything heaven-defying, only wishing for wondrous medicines to increase their cultivation realms. They came here to pick holy medicines and bring them back for their sects. Unfortunately, they were still buried here, becoming rotting divine corpses. The cliffs transformed, white bones everywhere. It was just too terrifying, dazzling like white snow. In addition, baleful energy overflowed into the heavens, the coldness penetrating down to the bones. What kind of place was this? It made one's scalp a bit numb and their backs produce cold energy. They counted them all up. From the start until now, this region had more than 20,000 corpses already. This was definitely a demonic earth. So many deities died at once. I feel like it is still best to withdraw. There is no need for us to put ourselves in so much danger. I never expected there to be this type of dangerous place, with even true deities and exceptional talents corpses everywhere. Lana Chen said. There was a dark cloud over his heart. He felt quite uneasy. You all should return. I'll go and take a look up ahead. Shahao said. He couldn't resist the urge to investigate further. The main reason was that he had his own methods, so he could escape if there was danger. Luo Dao and Lana Chen gave each other a look. They clenched their teeth and decisively proceeded. People were heading here wave after wave, dying here as a result, so who knew, there might truly be some kind of natural luck. Unfortunately, they weren't familiar with this place, never hearing about it before. Lu Yi shivered inwardly. He wanted to withdraw, but when he saw the three others advance, he didn't dare return by himself. With a sullen face, he could only follow along. At the end of the bone field, the void distorted, becoming slightly indistinct. Sinister light was released from that place, clearly a mysterious and strange region. There were formations protecting this place. Save me. Suddenly, a weak voice could be heard from up ahead in this eerie and deathly still danger spot, calling out to them. Those individuals rushed forward. Sure enough, it was an exceptional talent, and Lana Chen even recognized him. They had previously met. When he saw them, he opened his mouth with difficulty. Those lips were already starting to rot, and in the end, he couldn't speak another word. His eyes grew dim, and then the final strand of primordial spirit scattered. Why did he suddenly die? Lu Yi took a few steps backwards, while staring at that corpse on the ground. Those individuals' expressions all became grave. An extremely powerful exceptional talent even died here. This place was not ordinary after all. It was a demonic earth with great dangers. According to Lana Chen, this exceptional talent was already at the great circle of the divine flame realm. His flesh rotted, and the most vital areas, for example, the heart, throat, space between the brows, were all scorched black. There were bloody holes as well, previously pierced through by lightning. His flesh was already mushy, his forehead pierced through as well. The only reason he could still transmit sound was due to his final strand of will persisting. Back up. Shahao suddenly said. His finger then became like a sword, releasing sword radiance. With a pu sound, this person's head was blasted open. Rotting liquid splashed outwards, its smell incomparably pungent. A small black point released the sound of fluttering wings. It quickly rushed at Shahao's left eye with incomparably viciousness. It had a sharp metallic point, about to pierce into his head. Duo. Shahao released lightning from his mouth, firing out an expanse of golden symbols. They landed on that black speck, making its body tremble greatly before falling onto the ground. It was a sinister bug, jet black like ink, only the size of a fingernail. Its body was now in pieces. It had a pair of transparent wings, its appearance savage like a fiend's. It was this that killed an exceptional talent. Lan Yichen frowned. Just now, he felt something hiding in that exceptional talent's head. It was precisely this creature that wiped out the exceptional talent's final will. Only, they never expected it to be this type of pitch-black vicious bug. A single bug is definitely not an exceptional talent's match. Shahao said. The void became indistinct, slightly distorting. Sure enough, there was an extremely ancient formation protecting this place. It was a secret earth. However, there was an area that had an opening they could enter from. If they weren't mistaken, all of the ominous and horrifying things originated from within. This place. I've seen it before. Shahao was shocked. Before entering, he saw a few sacred regions, and one of them had this divine tree forest. He even wanted to enter that place, but he didn't have a choice, transported into an ancient earth by a small silver path. Turns out it was precisely where he wanted to go. We're rich. So many divine fruit trees. Heavens! I have never seen such a thing in my entire life. Today, my eyes have truly been opened. Lu Yi's voice was trembling. Forget about him, none of the others had seen such a thing either. There were several dozen of them, growing together, auspicious radiance flowing about. It was too resplendent and peaceful, great natural luck. Is my Tao confirmed now? Even Shahao's voice was trembling. He was still worried about a lack of great medicines, that there was no way of saving himself later, unable to enter isolation cultivation. Now, with this divine tree forest before him, his entire body felt relieved. If he could pick divine fruits, then there will most likely be enough for him to use. Only, while feeling excitement, he didn't lower his vigilance. It was because the scenes he had seen along the way had just been too terrifying. Corpses were everywhere, and all of them died after arriving here. All of you, stand by my side. Shahao said, walking forward. The holy aura became stronger and stronger. Watching from the distance was one thing, experiencing it up close was a whole different story. These trees were all extremely tall and incomparably ancient. Their tree trunks were spotlessly white like jade, and even the cracked bark was like this. The sparkling whiteness shone, and the leaves were lush green, releasing auspicious multicolored light. Those multicolored lights linked up together, scattering downwards like rainbows, but also like starry streams. It was divine and astonishing. This place contained shocking vitality, with a single breath of the air here making all of one's pores expand, the spiritual essence pouring into their bodies. Those fruits are so special. They saw the fruits between the divine tree's branches. They were like little shining suns. A sweet fragrance wafted outwards, seeping out from the screens of light.